Hello there. It is becoming more and more apparent that far from just leaving the EU, there are three avenues emerging from the establishment swamp that the country can now take regarding Brexit. So, having opted for leaving the European Union, as things crystallise, it appears that the people of the UK are having the options of one form of leaving the bloc and two forms of remaining in it dangled in front of them. The one form of leaving is obviously the WTO exit option, while Theresa May's deal is a form of super remain because it has all of the obligations and costs but none of the say, and that would definitely make our country the UK in name only. While the third option that is rearing its ugly head is that of extending the Article 50 process or simply using the recent ECJ ruling to revoke the Article 50 process entirely in order to have another referendum, where the choice is that of the May deal or remain, and then in all probability staying in the European Union. Now it could be argued that there is another option, that of negotiating a free trade deal. But as the PM is hell-bent on running the clock down to get her deal through, with only 104 days left to go and no clear plan with wide support emerging for such a beast, then that looks very unlikely. For example, we've got the Work and Pension Secretary Amber Rudd saying the PM must try a new approach, even including opposition MPs, but the Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt has dismissed this. And along with Amber Rudd, four other ministers, Philip Hammond, David Lidington, David Gauke and Greg Clark, are reported to be urging the PM to include considering another referendum in her deliberations. But another Tory MP and brother of Boris, Joe Johnson, says that Theresa May is trying to run the clock down to force Parliament to choose her deal over a no-deal scenario. Talking to the BBC Radio 4 Today programme, he said, Number 10 could try to leave that vote until the very last minute, effectively giving the country, giving Parliament, no choice at all except between her deal and no deal at all. And he added, It's simply unacceptable to run out the clock and face the country with the prospect of being timed out. And all this is being played out against a backdrop of a deal offered by the PM that is most unlikely to get through the House due to the Irish border backstop included in it, with the EU having locked out all attempts to renegotiate that part of the agreement, as well as an intense scaremongering campaign against leaving the EU with no deal, and strident calls from well-known arch-remainers for another referendum. Parliament won't accept Theresa May's deal, so surely, people ask, if democracy is to be served, then a WTO exit must happen with agreements being rolled over probably at the last minute to make it work. Writing in The Telegraph, the Tory MEP Dan Hannan says much the same thing, but he starts his piece by saying, It's over. If Brexit happens at all, and for the first time I'm beginning to think it won't, it will be on terms that keep the worst aspects of EU membership. An obvious reference to Theresa May's super remain Brexit in name only. And he goes on to say that we either give up our country to the PM's deal, revoke Article 50 to have another referendum based on May's deal versus Remain, or leave on WTO terms, something he says our politicians lack the willpower for. MPs terrified by a shortage of Mars bars are unlikely to have the appetite for Singapore-style liberalisation, he writes. And so, by a process of Sherlock Holmes analysis, he eliminates the impossibilities of A. May's deal or B. leaving on WTO terms and is left with C. another referendum based, as I said before, on May's deal or Remain, which would almost certainly at this stage require an extension or revoking of Article 50. As Hannan goes for the rescind Article 50 option in his article, I assume that is because it would be simple to get it agreed in the House and the EU27 would not need to be involved. And Dan Hannan goes on to say that should this transpire, it will be a third world result, where those who wish to leave the EU properly will not vote, as there's nothing on the ballot paper for them to vote for, so Remain wins by a huge margin on a very low turnout. And think about it, a referendum on those terms would also be impossible for Brexiteers to campaign on. I would call that being a dino, a democracy in name only, and welcome to the post-democratic age. And the only assurance Brexiteers have at this point is that Theresa May has stated and promised that there will be no extension of Article 50, no reversing Brexit, and no second referendum. But can she be trusted on any of these points? UKIP is right to be readying itself for European parliamentary elections next year in the face of what could be an anti-democratic sellout. So please let us all know what you think about all of this by leaving a comment below, and thank you for watching. Please do like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel. And when subscribing, please do remember to press on the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get an alert every single time I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching.